Okay, this is my attempt to try to get us through everything we need to in this STAAR foldable. Alright, we've already done quite a few pages. We're going to do quite a few more. Alright, so we've gone through this page and this page. We've done this page and this page. Now, what we're going to do is this next part. This part that's dealing with mean absolute deviation. Okay? And so, we're going to, you should have already had the flaps cut. But we're going to quickly go through this and we're going to try to get through some of the solving inequalities. Alright, so what are the measures of variation? Alright, the things that we have to remember to find measures of variation. You might have heard them measures of central tendency. That was what they were called up until this point in your schooling career. Now it's getting into variation. Alright, so now that you open it up, you should see median. It's the middle number. And to figure it out, you have to line them up from least to greatest. Alright? Mode. It is the number that occurs the most often. Okay? Then you have mean. This is what we're mostly dealing with in 8th grade. This stuff is 5th, 6th, 7th grade stuff, but mean is what we mostly focus on. It is the average. The average of a set of numbers. What you have to do to figure that out is you have to add, then divide by how many numbers there are. So you add all the numbers and then you divide by how many there are. And then there's range. It is the difference between the largest and smallest number. All you do is subtract the largest number minus the smallest number. Okay, that's all you do. We'll do a little bit of range, but mostly in 8th grade we're dealing with mean. We're dealing with averaging. Okay, but that doesn't mean you can forget all of these things. I mean, you know, math builds on itself. Alright, so mean absolute deviation is how far the numbers are from the average number. So it's the average distance between the data and the mean, or the average of the entire data. Alright, here's how to find it. Alright, what you first have to do is you have to calculate the mean, or the average. Okay? Round that to the nearest whole number. When we did it as a class, I said to the 10th place. Whole number works, 10th place works, which is the first decimal point. It depends on what your answer choices are, really. And since we're practicing for the STAAR test, use the test as an indicator. Okay? Then you have to find the difference. So you have to subtract. That's what difference means. The difference from the mean. So you first have to find the mean, and then you have to subtract to find the difference. And then you find the mean, yet again, the average of all those numbers, and then round. And this one I highly recommend, maybe not whole number, but to the nearest 10th. Okay? So, the way I always taught it, when you have a set of numbers, make a table out of it. By just dragging down those commas, make a table out of it. Alright? And then label this mean, and this bottom part mad. Okay? So the mean is you have to add all these numbers and then divide by how many there are. So we're going to add 47 plus 48 plus 56, and then we're going to divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 numbers. So in your calculator, you just add all those numbers. So turn your calculator on and you go 47 plus 48 plus 56 plus 48 plus 49 plus 51 plus 57 plus 52 plus 48. Then you're going to divide by how many there are. And so when you added them all up, then you get that number, and then you divide by 9. And you get 50.6, repeating. Alright, if you round to the nearest whole number, that is 51. So we're just going to round that to 51 because that 6 tells it to get bigger. So now, this is the number. This is the number that we're going to do all our subtraction with. So, now we're going to take 51 and we're going to subtract 47 from 51. We're going to subtract 48 from it. And it doesn't matter which way you go. It doesn't matter which one you do first. I tend to do the mean first and then subtract the number. So I subtract and get a 4. Now the reason I say it doesn't matter is because everything you're putting here has to be a positive number. Okay? It has to be positive. So write that down. Must be positive. Okay? So all of these numbers along this way must be positive. Alright? Because that's the absolute part. So then, if you're comfortable with your calculator, I'm just going to you go up 2 places and then just change the number out. I want 8. So that's 3. Then I'm going to go up again, click on it, press enter, and then change it to 56. And see, I get a -5. I don't care about the negative. I'm just going to write 5 right there. 48, I've already done once, so I'm going to now I'm going to go up here, do 49, I get 2, 51, I get 0, 48 I have again, I'm going to write that there, 52, I get a -1, again I don't care about negative, I want a positive, put a 1 here, and then this is a 6. Okay, so then your numbers look like this. Now what does it say to do? Then you have to find the mean again. So we're going to have to average all those numbers. So we're going to average 4 plus 3 plus 5 plus 3 plus 2 plus 0 plus 6 plus 1 plus 3. And you get 27. You're going to divide by 9. And you get the answer of 3. So your MAD, what you were looking for all along, equals 3. And I call it MAD because it's mean absolute deviation. So the answer is 3. Okay, you have another question right here. I want you to do this one on your own. So again, make your grid. Make your grid. Label this part mean, this part MAD. Add them all up. Divide by the number of numbers, put that number there, and then subtract them. This I'm going to check. This is going to be a grade. So check this, make sure you have it. Alright, now let's quickly go to, you should have a page that looks like this. Solving 2-step inequalities and 2-step equations. Alright, we're going to skip inequalities for right now. We're going to talk about the equations part. So when you open it up, I have made a mistake. Okay, you're going to open it up and look for the part that says actually solving equations. Notice it's going to be under the tab that says that. Oops, I made a mistake. Alright, so still the goal is to solve equations. So look for your equation 1. Alright, I'm not going to do all of these. You're going to have to do some. But this you're pretty good at. Remember your models, okay? Remember the goal is to get the variable on one side. The goal is to get the variable on one side or alone. Variable by itself is the goal of equations. Like, that's the whole point we do this. Okay? So you have to find the middle of the equation. It's the equal sign. Okay? So the middle of the equation is always the equal sign. So you're just going to draw a line. Okay? Then you're going to put on or take off the same thing on each side. So just remember, if you do it to one side with the princess, remember the princess is in the castle. If you're messing with one set of guards, you have to mess with the other set of guards. And the goal is always to get the princesses by themselves. Like this is 2 princesses and 1 princess over here. You want them all in the same area. Okay? And that's that whole same thing on each side. So then you're going to divide at the end. That's getting princesses by themselves. But let's just try here first. Alright, I have 1 princess over here and 2 princesses over here. I'm going to move this guy, this princess, over to this side because there's more princesses over here. But how do I get rid of a princess? Well, she can just leave. But the opposite of 1 princess is her just leaving, right? So her leaving would be a negative x. If I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other. So this cancels out and I have nothing. I'm just left with 113. And then this 2x minus the 1x is x plus 27. Now, my goal is still the same. I want the princess by herself. She's not by herself. She lost one of the princesses that was in the castle, but I still have this 27 guards in there with her. So I have to get rid of them. The opposite of addition is subtraction. So I'm going to subtract. That takes away all the guards. So x equals, now 131, 113 minus 27 equals 86. 86 is my answer. Boom. Alright, let's go down to this one. Alright, I look at this. I have a lot of negatives. It doesn't really matter. This time, I'm going to bring these 5 over here because they're negative. And I tend to look for the smaller one. And the higher the negative number, the lower it actually is. So, let's get rid of this right here. Because my things that are like, my like terms are right here. And I can do the same thing back up here. These terms were like terms, that's why I had to get them red, gone in the same level. Okay? So now, I want to get rid of the negative 5. How I get rid of negative 5 is plus 5 on both sides. That cancels that out and I'm left with just my pink 35. Then I have, think about it, it is a negative 2 plus 5. And my answer is a positive 3. So positive 3x minus 300. Okay? So now what was pink? I can get rid of those things together. So I want to get princesses by themselves, so we're going to, opposite of subtract 100 is to add 100 to both sides. That cancels that out and I'm left with just my 3 princesses. And then 35 plus 100 is 135. Now I have to divide by 3 on both sides, because I just want to find out what one princess is. So that cancels out, and that's x. But then 135 divided by 3 is 45. So my answer is 45. Okay? Last one, and then I want you to do these guys on this side. Alright, again, I'm going to color code everything that has X's. I'm going to make yellow. Everything that doesn't have a variable or a princess with it, I'm going to make pink. And notice I collect the sign with the number in front. Okay? So now let's get rid of the yellow, the princesses first. Alright, this number tends to be the smallest, so I'm going to get rid of this. The opposite of positive is negative. Okay? So that cancels that out, and I'm left with just 63. 16 minus 6 is 10. X minus 37. Now I want to get this gone because I want princesses by themselves. So I'm going to add 37 to both sides because the opposite of negative is positive. So 63 plus 37 is 100. This is canceled out. Now I have 100 equals 10x. Well, I want to find out what just one princess is. This is not my answer until x is all by itself. It's attached by multiplication, so I'm going to have to divide by 10. And I get x finally by itself, which is what I wanted. And 100 divided by 10 is 10. So there's my answer. And I could have done that division in my calculator, but I can do that one in my head. Alright, so what I want for you to do is these 3 on your own, color code if needed, and I want you to do this one right here. Yes, this is a lot to ask, but STAAR is quickly approaching. Alright? We will work on the solving inequalities next time. Alright, bye.